Well, I think a lot of people are experiencing that they miss school and they never realized that was going to happen. Um, but a big one, I think, is grief. Grief is a reaction that we have to loss, big and small. So we're familiar with grief on the big end when someone passes away, or if a friend moves away, or if something that we were expecting to happen that's really important to us doesn't end up happening. I think we all are familiar with grief when it happens like that. I think less familiar is the grief that comes from a bunch of small losses, and I think that's a big part of what a lot of people are experiencing right now. When we think about grief, we think about the 5 stages of grief, which are denial, anger, bargaining, depression, and acceptance. I think when we talk about those stages, we think of them in terms of like climbing a ladder or walking a path where it's first I'm going to experience this one, then this one, then this one, then this one. But that's not really how it works. When we experience grief, we might start with denial. We might move into depression and then anger and then denial again. And, we can go back and forth and back and forth. Eventually, we can get to acceptance. And that is the end of a process. This is a process and it's going to take time. We are all experiencing this together though, so we don't have to do this alone. Even though we might be separated from each other physically, we're going through this together as a community. First thing, talk to other people about what you're grieving, about what's hard. Another thing that you can do is be creative. In times of loss, it feels good to add. It feels good to create and make something. We live in a really cool time where there's DIY instructions for just about anything that you want to do. You can go on Pinterest and YouTube and find out how to make something so fast that opportunities are endless. Creating is one of my favorite ways to work through my grief. And then the last thing that I would encourage you to do is be open to joy. Sometimes when the world is in chaos or we're experiencing grief or things around us are sad, we want to just sink into it. And there will be moments when something good will happen and we'll think, oh, that's great, but I'm sad. I don't want to do that. We can feel happy. It's okay to feel happy when things are scary. It's okay to feel happy when things are sad. Remember that there are still things in the world that do make sense. I had a conversation with Miss Trimmer the other day that, first of all, really just made my day because Miss Trimmer is a delight. But also because we were talking about math and how math is consistent. And no matter what crazy things are happening in the world, there are some things that are always going to be. The sun is always going to rise in the east, and 2 plus 2 is always going to equal 4. And that was really comforting to me, and it made me really happy to think that there are things that are never going to change. And I just want to add one more thing, which is that this is a process. So if you're grieving, if you're having a hard time, if you're struggling with what's changed in your life, it's okay, but there are people here to help you and work through all of these challenges and changes. So be good, be safe, be eagles, and rise.